Hey everyone, welcome to Break It Yourself. Today, we're gonna be reviewing the Breeo Y Series. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I have reviewed the Breeo X series, the 19 as well as the 24, and I just reviewed the Solo Stove 2.0. So this is Breeo's newest generation of Firepit that has some interesting features that I haven't seen on the market before. But before we jump into that, your little spider senses and shill alarms should be going off because Breeo did send me this pre-production model free of charge. So I have to say that up front, let you guys know, no money changed hands. I didn't sign a contract or anything like that, but they did send me this for a review specifically. So just wanted to let you know. So what's the big deal with Breeo Firepits? Mainly, just kind of like your Solo Stove competitor, they are smokeless fire pits. They generate way less smoke than a traditional fire pit does because they have that reburn where they reintroduce oxygen around the holes in the top. And it is wonderful. Once that fire gets going, once it heats up, then it really cuts down on the amount of smoke that's gonna come off of that fire pit. So first and foremost, what is this thing made out of? It is made out of 304 stainless steel. One of the most interesting things about it is that it has adjustable legs. So you can set two different heights on this fire pit. Now, really the third setting is the stow setting where the legs are all the way up inside the fire pit, and that's gonna put the fire pit directly on a surface. You wouldn't wanna burn anything in that mode. That's just to stow it. When it's in that mode, it is about 11 and a half inches tall. The first setting that the legs go to, you're about 15 inches tall, and then the maximum, the highest setting it goes to is about 21 inches. Also 21 inches, the outside diameter of this fire pit, about 21 inches, the inside diameter, about 15 inches. You can fit 16-inch splits in this thing, no problem. As you can easily see, the Breeo Y Series is rock solid, no issues whatsoever with stability. Once you get those legs fully extended, just kind of pull them to the outside and that gets everything nice and sturdy. If you leave them kind of more inward, then it is a little bit shaky, but just pull those legs out and it's perfect. So why is it called Y Series? Well, if you're familiar with Breeo, you know that the X Series has that X in the bottom, which is where the airflow comes from. Y Series, same kind of thing. It just has a Y in the bottom, and that's where the air flows in to the fire pit. This Y Series is compatible with the X Series 19 accessories. So the X19 Outpost grill, it can fit the sear placed griddle. It can also fit as well as that kettle hook. And I have used this thing with the X19 grill and I really like to grill on these Breeos versus the Solo Stove. I really like the Outpost grilling system, mainly because you can adjust the height of the grilling surface for the temperature that you want. So a couple times I'd be all the way at the top so I could get a lower temperature. I did some wings up there, and to reverse sear a steak, I also put the steaks up at that height for a while until the internal temperature got to about 125, and then take the steaks off, take that Outpost grill, lower it all the way down towards the fire, throw the steaks on for a sear, and they came out perfect. Let's talk about some more temperatures. Really in line with all other products in this class. You're gonna see 14, 15, 1600 degrees Fahrenheit actually inside that fire pit. Most of the heat on these smokeless fire pits is gonna go up. And then let's talk about radiant heat. Radiant heat wise, it does not put out as much as the X Series. So the X Series, in my opinion, this is subjective. I haven't had a great way to quantify this yet. I am doing testing between the Solo Stove and this, so stay tuned for that, as well as comparing it to the X Series. So I'm trying to come up with a way to compare the radiant temperatures, but so far, I will say just subjectively, kind of like using my hands, the Y Series, not quite as much radiant heat as the X Series. Much more in line with what I would expect from the Solo Stove. If you go back to my original Breeo versus Solo Stove video, I said that the Breeo put off way more radiant heat, which was definitely true. I have some suspicions on why that might be, but the Y Series is very similar to the solo stove. So it's not zero. It does put out some radiant heat, but that X series puts out a ton of radiant heat compared to these two. So the sides still get really hot. I mean, they're 250, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, those sides are gonna get, so they're not safe to touch, and it still puts out tons of heat up. But I would love to see Breeo come out with some type of heat deflector that could kind of sit on top and really deflect that heat outwards. I think that would be awesome. So I'm keeping my eyes out. They did listen to us and they did come out with a stand for their X series so that you could put it on a deck or something like that. But this Y series, because it has that lower temperature and that heat shield underneath, it is deck safe. It appears that Breeo is going for something a little more portable in this design because the weight, I've not gotten an official sheet of the actual weight, but when putting it on my scale, I got about 32 pounds for this fire pit, which is much less than the other fire pits like the X19, which is closer to that 50 pounds. So this is much closer to like your solo stove Bonfire, which is right about 20 pounds. So 10 pounds more than that. They also, which is a dead giveaway for the portability thing, they have a carry handle included. And I will say, yeah, 30 pounds, not the lightest, but the way that that handle is positioned, it's actually pretty manageable. The weight really stays under you. It's not like bulky or awkward to carry, especially if you're used to carrying like big fire pits out in front of you or anything like that. Very easy to manage. Another change from some of the X series and a criticism that they have addressed that I had in the past from the X series is that they included a heat shield in the bottom of this Y series, which is huge because the X series could get 400 or 500 degrees underneath that fire pit, not deck safe. You would need to put pavers or something down like that. This fire pit, they actually included a heat shield, just a really thin piece of stainless steel on the bottom, which really cuts down on the amount of heat that is radiated from the bottom. When it was in its lower setting, not the lowest because that's the stove setting, but when it was in its lower setting, which is kind of like the fire pit setting versus the tallest setting, which is more for like cooking, we'll get into that. In that lower setting, the maximum temperature I was able to read underneath that fire pit was 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And that was just like tons of wood, just really trying to get it as hot as I possibly could to see the temperature underneath. So I did hit 200. It kind of hovered when I was doing like normal fires. It hovered in like the 150 degrees Fahrenheit to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. So much, much cooler than the Breeos historically have been. Okay, let's go back to the Outpost grill. Something that's really nice is you can put this fire pit up on the highest setting, so it's about 21 inches off the ground. Really convenient for sitting around, especially if you're grilling, kind of brings that height up. Very nice. I like that you don't have to kind of like bend down, nice, like really low to actually get to your food or anything like that. It's a great height for just kind of being able to relax and have something on that Outpost grill. So I love the adjustability of those legs. It's a really great feature, and the fact that that is included. It's not some accessory that you have to get. It just comes with it. You have the little detents that you push in. You slide those legs up and down. It's pretty easy. They do want you to tilt the fire pit on its side and adjust the legs. I kind of did it while it was upright, whatever works for you. Another unique thing about this fire pit is that it is tri-fuel. So I'm using wood splits, but if in your area it's not easy to get a bunch of wood, you can use lump charcoal. But I think lump could kind of be said about most fire pits that can handle wood can also handle lump. The difference is that this can also take wood pellets. Now, some fire pits, they're gonna have holes in the bottom and those pellets would just fall right through. Because the Breeo has a solid bottom, those pellets are gonna stay there. The air comes in through the Y, not through a grate in the bottom, and they'll be able to burn just fine. So if you have trouble sourcing wood, pellets could be a great option for you. Now let's talk about cleaning. One of the biggest things that Solo Stove just did is come out with their 2.0 and make it super easy to clean. This pit is lighter and it's very easy to just dump out, or you can scoop the ash out. So I scoop the ash out with a little shovel, not even the shovel that Breeo recommends, and it takes like 2 minutes to get it all out. Or you could just take it and dump it somewhere because it is 30 pounds and it has a carry handle. But if you don't want to mess with that, use a little shovel, get it all scooped out. It's no issue. I would say if you're gonna store this thing, if you're gonna leave it out for a while, definitely get all the ash out. Ash and water really sitting on anything is just gonna tear it up. So I would get the ash out, before you're just gonna let it sit for a while. You might have noticed around the ring of my fire pit, you say, oh, there's like some dirty stuff on it, whatever. It doesn't bother me, but if you are gonna cook, you can get some grease that's gonna splash down on that rim. Some people don't care at all. Some people absolutely detest it. I will say once it cools down, you can use some barkeeper's friend, scrub it off with some type of pad. I've done this with a drill, get like a drill brush accessory, put some barkeeper's friend on there, scrub it off, takes like 2 minutes and it's gone, good as new. But I mean, this is not the fault of Breeo by any means. It's like, if you're gonna cook on this thing, you're gonna get grease, you're gonna get it dirty. So just FYI, when you see that in some of the B-roll, it's just because I've cooked on this thing. It's a little bit dirty. It doesn't bother me at all. And eventually, if you do enough fires, it'll all just burn off anyway. I think I've hit all the highlights for this Y series. I am a fan. I know it's kind of hard for you to believe this because I get this product for free and I totally understand. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Absolutely. I am a fan of this fire pit. I think it's really cool. I like that Breeo just keeps trying to like push the envelope, come out with new things. I love the idea of the handle attached to it that makes it really easy, and the adjustable legs. You could take this thing out to a tailgate or something like that, or maybe even bring it camping. I think that would be really cool. So I love to see this type of innovation in this fire pit space. So I'm a big fan of this thing, but at the end of the day, of course, I cannot make the decision for you. There will be links in the description to the products and accessories and all that stuff, and it does help out the channel. So if you are interested, please use one of those links to do your shopping. I'm not sure the pricing that I've seen in the email so far is gonna be what is finally released, if that's the final price. So I will put the price down here on the screen so you know exactly how much this costs. I have a general idea of how much it's gonna cost. So if you're comparing this to something like the Solo Stove, you gotta keep in mind that this is 10 pounds heavier. If you're looking at the Solo Stove Bonfire, you're getting that thicker gauge steel. It's not gonna dent quite as easily if you were to like run into it or something like that. And in my opinion, I think it's gonna last a little bit longer just because it's that thicker gauge steel. Totally depends on what you're going for. I do think this is now more portable. My criticism of the X series was like, hey, you're buying this, you're leaving this put, you're not bringing this anywhere because it's 50 pounds and up. So I really like this Y series and how you can bring it around, has the convenient carry handle, but price-wise, it is more expensive than just the Bonfire, but it essentially has the stand built into it because it has those legs. So it isn't quite an apples to apples comparison when you're looking at price. I would also keep in mind that you can kind of start with the fire pit and then build up from there and add accessories. You could get that griddle, that sear plate griddle, which I think is awesome if you actually want to do some like searing cooking that doesn't get exposed directly to that flame. Or you can go with the outpost grill, which I'm a huge fan of. You can put that thing up high, get your lower temperature, put it down low, do some searing directly over that fire. You can also look into the kettle stuff as well. So I kind of like that you can start out with just the pit and kind of work your way up from there. But so far, I am a fan of this Y series product. I think it's very innovative, very cool. I hope that my video was helpful in kind of showcasing some of the things about this and that it informs you to make a good decision if you are in the market. As always, thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. Don't forget to thumbs me up, and we will see you next time.